Welcome to the PSAV Inspiration Cafe, where I'm joined by Mike Mcllwain, CEO of PSAV. Welcome.
Well
Mike.
said. Pronounced my name correctly, so that's very good.
Well,
we're off to a great start.
We work on it. So good to have you here. There's nobody more important right now in the cafe than you.
All right.
And I think that one of the things that we've learned as we've had other discussions is that there's a lot of commodity in terms of mics and speakers, but where the real difference is in the people.
Absolutely.
And I thought, Mike, if you could talk a little bit about the people in general.
Yeah, we're blessed to have a footprint of over 800 hotels throughout the world, largely in North America, but so that gives us a vast wealth of resources with our employees really throughout the world. So a knowledge base, I think, that's really unsurpassed by anybody. Yeah, we're very blessed to have great relationships with partners, our hotel partners. I really like to thank them for the support that they give us and helping us to establish that footprint.
That's a vital link. We haven't talked about it that much on the cafe yet, the hotel year and the hotel
Right.
business. And they are the venue and a crucial part of what you do. Are you seeing changes in terms of the way you all work together?
Yeah, there's a lot of collaboration. We are part of the team at the hotel on site, so great collaboration where our team is involved with what they're doing really every day. And our ultimate goal is for that to be a seamless connection, so that when you come in the hotel, the AV staff is seen as really a part of the hotel staff, right, and really not seeing any difference between the two.
Well, collaboration I know is part of one of the zones here at the PSAV Inspiration Cafe, and you can't collaborate if you're not professional. And the words we keep hearing a lot about PSAV is professionalism and this whole notion of collaboration. Is that one of the key virtues of
it really
key
is,
platforms?
And it's a key focus for us right now. We have invested a great deal of money in terms of giving our people the internet capabilities to be able to collaborate. When you have 800 locations, you're getting a lot of great ideas every day. And to the extent you can capture those ideas and share them, across that platform is really where you bring that strength to bear. And so we've put different information systems in place that allows that information to flow smoothly from location to location. So when you're dealing with PSAV as a planner, you'll see us, and we should be similar, if not identical, from location to location wherever your event may be being held.
That seemed to be, we talked to a couple of folks in the industry who said another great strength of PSAV is that we get our core team, and we know that no matter where we go, that'll travel. That experience will travel, best practices will travel. And how do you keep your people trained? Is that a big issue with PSAV?
It's a lot of work,
yeah,
and a lot of money. We make an investment to do that. The thing that we're blessed with is people with passion.
Right.
As I travel around and I meet our teams in Toronto and meet them in New York and in Dallas and in Chicago, the common thread is that the people are here for the main reason is they love what they do, and it really shows through. And there's a different story for how people ended up, with PSAV. But the people who are here for a reason, to put on a great event, to really wow people. And it's just, for me, the most encouraging thing that I have every day when I'm out in the field and, talking to our teams. It gives me so much energy, to keep going, keep doing that. It's really what I look forward to more than anything that I do practically, is going out and meeting with our teams.
And the passion that they have, how does that benefit the client?
It benefits the client because they want to wow the client, and that goes through to wowing whoever's at that event. And so all of that fits together where you're doing something, to bring the best AV and the best team to that event, and it flows right through so that the client is ultimately the beneficiary of all of that passion and hard work.
One of the things as we look around the cafe, we're reminded of how much investment's been made on your part, the company's part, in technology.
Absolutely.
And is that a key driver, do you think, of where the industry is obviously going?
It is. Yesterday I went to the general session, which was great. It opened up and I learned a lot of facts. People aren't going to pay attention to anything for more than 10 minutes, so we've got to make sure we keep on pace here. You've got 9 seconds to make an impression, and our brains are wired in a certain way so that, we're going to learn, and people are doing a lot of work around that. And technology has to move with that. There's always going to be a constant push for bigger, better, brighter, but do it in a way that's intelligent so that, you're playing into how people will learn. It doesn't have to be the most whiz-bang thing, but doing a thing that's the most effective for using how our brains are wired, to retain information, because that's really why we're here.
Right.
People are spending money to have events, and they want to get that learning passed through to their attendees of those events. That's where the real value is.
It isn't just about showing up at a place. We're supposed to be exchanging information.
Exactly. Yeah, and I'm driven. I love to learn new things. So to me, when I'm in an event and it's really pulled off correctly, and there is that learning element, that 10-minute attention span can really be expanded. And I think that's ultimately the challenge, is if you're doing an event for however long, how do you keep people focused for however long that you are doing that?
Right, and these are principles that each PSAV member has to grapple
Absolutely.
with. You have a unique global vision, and we've all been in a bit of a downturn as an industry,
Yes.
But what do you see happening in various parts of the world where PSAV operates?
Yeah, it's an exciting time for our industry, and I would like to congratulate people, everyone who's been able to manage through the last 2 or 3 years. It's something that was put upon us. We've responded, as an industry, as a country. I'm proud of the fact that we've been able to manage through a very long downturn. It's exciting now from where I see, because we started to see recovery in 2010, and that recovery has continued through 2011. And the view is we're going to see that, into 2012 as well. So there's green shoots of growth and opportunity. We're taking advantage of those. When you look at globally, like Canada was, reacted differently. They didn't have the sharp decline in 2008 that we've seen. So that economy has run a bit separately, didn't go down as much, so it hasn't been growing as much. Mexico has been very steady really throughout. They had a quick downturn in 2008, and then has been on a nice upturn since then. Europe has been more, all over the board, depending on what country that you're in. At different times, it's been responding differently. That's been a bit of a challenge just with everything that's going on with the European debt crisis, and then you get something like the volcanic ash, which changed events for a while.
That was an amazing story.
It really was, and it actually impacted us pretty greatly, because people couldn't fly in, to London.
Can we talk about that for just a moment? Because
Absolutely.
for those who didn't know, I mean, give us the background, because I know it just shut everything.
Yeah, there was and I won't even try to pronounce the name of the volcano that erupted in Iceland, and then it put up volcanic ash that it was drifting over the Atlantic Ocean, and then it shut down airports really throughout Europe. And so if you think about if you had an event planned, whatever, then we lost literally 2 or 3, 4 weeks of time of events because people simply couldn't travel to the event. So something you don't even think about, and in our industry you have to be prepared and react accordingly. That's right. Yeah. Weather can be, if you have a blizzard, those types of events can change schedules radically. Again, having a team like ours that can react to those kind of difficult pressures is one of the things I'm most proud of at PSAV. We have a can-do group of people that get things done.
Pull it together, yeah.
Yes.
One of the areas, and you from your perspective, because you are both a vendor as well as a CEO of your own organization, that's the move towards corporate responsibility, CSR, green, and is that, are you seeing more of that in corporations that you deal with?
We are, yeah. There's more requirements that certain things are met that are not to get technical, but different requirements we need to make as we're investing in gear. And it is one of the things that we look at as we are buying new gear and putting out into our hotels and into our branches is how green and how big is our global carbon footprint, and we want to minimize that as much as we possibly can.
So it isn't just reacting to the industry, it's something you believe in as a corporation.
It is, as a core competency, is something that we would think of a core value would be important to us.
Do you see that growing as an issue?
I do. It's always going to be there. We're having last year, all the knee-jerk reaction was we had a bad winter and this stuff really doesn't mean anything. And this year, probably aware, but like Chicago, there's no snow on the ground.
Right.
I was able to ride my bike. I'm a big bike rider. I was able to ride my bike outside in Chicago 2 days last week, which is the first time I've ever ridden my bike outside in January. So it's, this year you would react and say, wow, there's something really happening. I think it just comes down to responsibility, to the extent that we can take the action that we need to take and think proactively, whatever the cause of what we're seeing is, why not do the responsible thing? Right. That's our approach.
Are you seeing, Mike, a greater interest in your clients' associations for demonstrating the value of meetings, metrics, proving that meetings play a demonstrable role?
Absolutely. Return on investment in meetings, I think, is a very important concept. I think, like I said, the the time that's being spent. We've done some, had some research done around how does a brain learn? How do people react to different stimuli when you're in there? So I think, there's going to be a constant, view towards getting value for money spent. One thing that we've just lived through in this downturn is we've all come to understand even more so the value of money.
Right.
And we have limited resources to invest. And as we focus those limited resources, you want to get the best return for whatever dollar that you spend. It's something, it's a principle that we apply in our business, and I would certainly expect that our customers will do the same.
I want to double back to something you just said, because I know you've done a very important white paper on the whole issue of how people learn.
Right.
And I think that anybody who's watching this who would like to have a copy of that white paper should contact their PSAV rep or go to the website.
That's correct. I think it is available on the website and you can see it.
It's quite a remarkable study.
It really is, and it references back to a guy who spoke yesterday, Dr. Medina, and some of the research that he's doing. But I was able to see him speak for 20 minutes yesterday, and just how much we're learning about the human brain is really fascinating. A few things, myths that I learned yesterday that aren't true is like that we only use 10% of our brain.
That's a myth?
It's a myth.
Oh.
I'm proud to say. I can't wait to go home and tell my wife that I'm using more than 10% of my brain. That we're left-brained or right-brained, and I've always heard, I don't know if you've heard that myth. It is a myth. But our personality is formed by our whole brain, not one side of our brain. So I think, and that kind of thing fascinates me. And when we're in our industry, when you have people for a limited period of time and you're trying to accomplish something that really is, it's a very soft thing that you're doing there, right? It's not like you can go out and say, I bought a piece of equipment and I made this much money, therefore here's the return. The return calculations are much softer than that. But I think when you put the energy into it in the thought process and do the right measurements going in and out of that meeting, you can really see the needle move. And having attended, good meetings and bad, I think that's very important for us in our industry.
It shows, I think, what you're speaking of in terms of, in the old days, perhaps a meeting was a place where everybody showed up.
Correct.
And either slept through a boring presentation or got excited about some motivational speaker. But now the science is becoming far more important.
That's right. And the encouraging thing, too, is you think about, is the face-to-face meeting, what's the future of the face-to-face meeting? And I think, as human beings, we're wired to be together. We're going to learn better in a face-to-face setting.
Right.
I do a lot of communicating. We have a very open communication style at PSAV. I talk to our employees a lot. I'd much rather do it in person. Now we have 2,500, 3,000 employees, so we do take advantage of the web and other ways to do it. But I know for me, even as a presenter, I'm much more effective when I can look at an audience and I can gauge a reaction and see, like, as you're nodding there, I know, okay, I'm making my point and he's understanding. Sometimes you get that look and I need to go back and double back and revisit that. So I think that's an exciting thing too, is that, our industry is so important, and, the face-to-face meeting is really a thing that's here to stay.
What do you say to young people about coming in the business? I mean, is this a good business for people to?
Absolutely. Again, that passion of, what's happening in our industry, I think it's a lot of opportunity. I think it's challenging in good ways. I think it's a good collaborative thing to do. It's a great event-oriented business. So you come in, you've got a deadline, you're going to come in, you're going to accomplish something. And I think that's one of the strengths of what we do is, the people who are there working every day in and day out, get that feeling of accomplishment of having come in, done this event in a spectacular fashion, and then move on to the next one. So I think, there's a lot of opportunities in what we do.
Great. One last area, and that's content. Both in terms of content, the importance of content, because we often talk a lot about channels,
yes.
Twitter and Facebook, and we still got to say something. But also content management systems, because I know you have a particularly strong content management system.
We do, and it's and that's all part of it too. When you're doing the analysis, and we are largely an AV equipment provider with our people, but it's also like, what are people seeing in that event? And so we have a creative department that can help create the content that goes into a meeting. Then we have content management capabilities so that when people walk away from the meeting, they're taking something with them. They're going to have a great experience for however long that meeting is face-to-face, but then after that they have reference materials that they can get online and not have to carry a big binder home. You can do that much more efficiently and end up taking that knowledge with you from there. And
also part of the green too.
Absolutely.
Sustainability.
Exactly. Great. That's a very good point.
Terrific. Mike, thank you so much.
Bill, same here. Thank you.
We've been speaking with Mike Mcllwain, CEO of PSAV, who exploded a number of myths about the brain and also reminded us it's about people and product. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
And do visit the PSAV Inspiration Cafe.